Welcome back to Little R&R. Join Russ Johns and Ronald Earl Wilsher as they discuss life, liberty, and all things extraordinary. They're untapped, uncensored, unabridged.
Hey folks, we're back in the studio. We are looking forward to sharing some valuable, useful information. Little R&R, Unleashed and Uncensored.
Which is russjohns.com.
And Ron Wilsher, ronaldwilsher.com.
Or Ronald Earl Wilsher.
Ronald Earl Wilsher.
Middle names.
You know, my uncle was Earl. My favorite uncle was Earl.
Well, I do it, Russ. For number one, as people can hear, you have to slow down just to say it, right? Ronald Earl Wilsher.
Ronald
and the other thing
Earl
is, it's
Wilsher.
It's a tribute to my mom and dad because they obviously like that name.
Yes. So. In fact, they probably named you before you could talk. Right? So there are some countries or some customs that they're named their children later on. And
well, as people say, I have a genetic duplicate, as you know, a twin brother, and his name is Randy. And people say, Randy, that doesn't rhyme with Ronnie. I'm like, well, here's how it was. I was there when they named us, but I didn't have a vote. Okay, so I mean, go talk to them.
I like the name. It sounds it's very elegant, very intelligent.
Well, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
I'll have to pass that on to my mom.
Okay. Sure that. Say, hey, it's a great name.
But welcome back. We're here to have some fun.
And one of the things that we're going to be talking about in this episode is we talked about in the beginning, we talked about getting your name, making it simple, have an email that is very easy to remember for people, and you'll have it the rest of your life. Very easy, very clean. And then in the second episode the third episode, we talked about the ability to grow your email list and some of the topics and techniques around that. We're going to continue to build on these things and go deeper and deeper every week. And so the thing we want to talk about during this episode is just getting involved in the social media world and what that actually means today. This thing is, in podcasts, they talk about evergreen. And in the evergreen concept is make it timeless to where it's not, it's not dated. And I think the social media, the evolution of social media is going to require us to take a stand on what's taking place today, and it's going to evolve over time, and we're going to continue to talk about that over time as things change, update. Gmail just put out an announcement. Google just put out an announcement that's going to make a big impact, that if you're on Google+, that you have access to everybody's Gmail account. So I can do, type in automatic fill-in. They're releasing that. So if you're on my Google Plus and you're not in my email list, that I can actually send you an email as a result of being on Google Plus.
Well, and that's another conversation, I think, but that's another thing on building your list. I always tell people, quality is much more important than quantity. So don't just go out and add everybody to your list. Be careful who you put on it, because it's your time that you're investing.
Yeah. And not everybody that you connect with will want to spend time with you, or you want to spend time with them.
Not everybody I connect with, but I'm sure everybody you connect with, Russ, will. I mean, how could they not?
Hey, you're right about that.
Good point, me.
Good point. Point well taken. So what are some things that people need to realize and understand about social media as it is today? That you have a list, you have an email. So the social media, Facebook is huge. I know you spend a lot of time. You've shared on the last episode that it's split between YouTube and Facebook. Tell us why.
After my email list. Well, the number one reason is because it's easy. There's a lot of people there. But first of all, let's really quick, Russ, define social media. You ask 5 social media experts and you'll get 10 different answers. Well, as you know, we like to keep things simple. So I say social media is just a big online party.
Yeah.
Okay. And we try to define, I have a saying that says it's more important to understand the psychology of the new media than it is to understand the technology. because everybody always gets so caught up in the technology. Well, technology changes, but psychology doesn't.
The best technology is invisible.
Right. It's simple, right?
Simple.
So what is social media? It's a big online party. So if it's a big online party, what's the big mistake people make? Buy my stuff. Buy my stuff. We talked about this in another episode. That's not what it's for.
Yeah,
social media is just a place to go and start conversations and have fun.
Well, it's like Seth Godin said, build your tribe of
Right.
people that are like-minded and you can actually have a conversation with. Communicate at a same level.
Right.
This idea of frequency and like-mindedness and things like that. People are going to gravitate, they're going to race to the same level of conversation.
Of people they relate to.
Of people that they relate to.
Right. And
so social media is just a different tool that has evolved over time.
Right. Instead of email, some people, a lot of people Facebook me.
Uh-huh.
But my whole goal in social media, number one, is to be seen and have some value, add some value. But my end goal is to get them back on my Way Cool Friends list. So when I go and start conversations, if we relate, then I'll invite them to join my Way Cool Friends list. As we're recording this, I see opt-ins coming to my Way Cool Friends list.
Yep.
So that's the whole goal of social media. Now, I have a saying, without a well-defined personal brand, social media is nothing more than entertainment.
And
so you got to have your brand first. It's much more important. I mean, if you go to the airport, Russ, and you walk up to the airport counter, the ticket counter, and say, hey, I want to buy a ticket. What's the first thing they're going to ask you?
What's your name?
Or where do you want to go?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't really matter. I just want to buy a ticket. They're going to think you're an idiot, okay? So develop your brand first before you go into social media. And what do? Register your name, set you up a platform. So now when you go out into social media, it's just an online party and start conversations, they'll have something to go back to and learn more about you. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense.
And so the big mistake I see people making with social media, the new media as I call it, is they're treating it like old media. Push, buy my stuff, right?
Yeah.
That it's not old media. It's new media, and it's listen and engage.
Now, I have a lot of people that say, at the end of the day, everything's the same. It's really not changed. It's just a different technology. Do you agree? Disagree?
Yeah, I kind of in a way, because what is the whole goal that are people trying to find out about you in social media? They're trying to find out if they like you, if they can relate, right? And if they do, then they want to stay in contact with you. That's basically it. So all this online stuff is, like I say, the big mistake is people are using it as a sales channel. Well, it's not, and I forget who I heard say this online. He said, social media is not to sell, it's to start conversations with people that'll sell for you.
Right.
And so everybody on my Way Cool Friends list, about 98%, have never bought anything from me. But they hear from me regularly, and they always send people to me.
Yeah.
Right? So that's the whole goal of this social media thing.
You mean you have friends that actually send you people?
Yeah.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy
That
how
is
this
so
works?
crazy. And that probably started from an email conversation or
something, right? How'd you hear about me?
It's a conversation.
Right. It all starts, life begins with, it's about conversation, see?
Yeah.
And as I tell people, unless you're Elvis, Lady Gaga, or David Bamberg, don't lead with your business because it's probably boring. Oh, Ronnie, I'm really excited about real estate. Well, most people aren't. They think it's boring, right? So start something with something that you're passionate about. Start with something that is fun.
Yeah.
People like to have fun. They like to be engaged, right? And
they want to appreciate what you do. It may not be for them at that particular moment in time.
Right. Or they might know somebody.
Yeah.
So as I say, I tell people, would you rather have 10 people that you convinced how good you were, Russ, and they bought something from you? Or would you rather have 100 or 1,000 people on your list that never bought anything from you, but they're out telling all their friends how cool you are?
Well, we know how cool we are.
So you see my point?
Yeah.
So don't go out and try to sell. See? I mean, I'm not a salesman anyway. Most of us aren't. But I'm really good at starting conversations. I'm really good at being who I am. And
if
it
you have
feels
enough
good.
Conversations, you're going to continue to have people say, I need your help on something else.
Or I know somebody, or I know somebody you need to talk to, right?
Referrals are key to business.
Well, I don't use the word referral because that kind of obligates me.
Right. However,
so what I do is I use introductions.
If I need a plumber and you know somebody that's a plumber that you know, like, and trust,
right?
You could say, you need to talk to Paul. He's a plumber that I know, like, and trust.
Or let me introduce you to this guy. Right? And then I'll let you do your thing.
All right. Hey, we're going to take a pause for the cause, and we're going to be talking about social media and getting out there and getting involved and engaged in the platforms. Hey, we're here. We're going to entertain ourselves here today in this podcast and share a few things about branding for humans. We have on the podcast today, we have Ronald Earl Wilsher. Tell us a little bit about Ronald Earl Wilsher and what you're here to do today. Are you there? Tap, 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 tap. Anybody home? Anybody home? Hey, you're back in the studio with a Little R&R. Unleashed, untapped, uncensored.
Untapped. That's a new one. I think you come up with a new one every time.
Well, yeah.
You like the U words.
I like making up stuff.
So uncensored, untapped, unleashed with RussJohns.com.
And RonaldWilsher.com.
There you go. You said it right that time.
I'll get it. By the 5th episode, I'll go home and practice.
Have we met before? Oh.
I don't know. Now I have to say introductions and produce results here. And we're talking about the idea of social media and some of the things that you need to get involved in. And why? Why do I need to get involved in social media? I have an email list, and that's the foundation of everything I do, say, and share. And you were talking before the break that there's this idea that we have to be able to explore and expand our message out in different platforms and get there. You use YouTube, you use Facebook. I'm a huge fan of LinkedIn. I like G+, Google+. Post a lot on that, Tumblr, a few other things and different platforms. And I like to explore and experiment. And I think it's valuable that people understand that the message just has to be consistent across all the platforms.
Right. And I think another thing important, Russ, to understand is you don't have to be active on all these platforms every day.
No.
I mean, that's impossible.
Yeah.
So basically what I do, I tell people, you not only own the media, you are the media. So you create content that'll add value to the world, and then you go out and start sharing it on different platforms. For instance, I'll make a video on YouTube, and I'll tag it correctly. Mm-hmm. And by that, I mean put my .com at the beginning of the description, put my opt-in little thing on it, right? And we'll go into that some other time, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But then I'll take that video. Now it's on YouTube, 1.1 billion users approximately, give or take. And I'll add it to my email.
Okay.
Then I'll also go and put it on my Facebook business page or personal page, depending on the content. I'll also go and add it to Twitter. I'll tweet the link out on Twitter, which now it shows up in the stream. So basically all I'm doing, I don't add that video to every single platform that I'm on every day. But what I've got is I've got presence on those different channels. You mentioned LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I don't spend a lot of time on LinkedIn because that's just not my thing. But if you go to LinkedIn, I've got over 1,700 first-level connections.
Yeah.
And there's 250 million people or so there. That's a different group of people.
Well, it's a different audience and a different message.
And Google Plus is a different.
Yeah.
Pinterest is different.
Yeah.
So what you do, I think you what do you call it? Navigate, or you're attracted to different things. I mean, a lot of women love Pinterest.
Yeah.
Now I have a Pinterest. I have 1,600 followers or something. So if I make a video, I'll go put it on my video board on Pinterest. But I don't spend a lot of time on most of these networks. That's what I want people to understand. I spend most of my time with my email, with Facebook and YouTube.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what I like.
Yeah.
You spend a lot more time on LinkedIn than Google Plus that I do. Now I do post stuff there.
Yeah.
But I choose to spend my time in different places. So my point is, it's okay. Pick what you're good at.
And everybody's personality is going to reflect the tools they use. Plumbers use wrenches, carpenters use hammers. It's no different in social media. It's pick a tool, and it's also about workflow. You said, hey, I'm going to do a video, and then I post it on YouTube, and then I take that and I post it on Facebook, right?
And then I posted it in my email.
And then you put it in your email.
And then I can use it in different places. But once you record that video, now it can work for you several different places and several different platforms.
Yeah. And as we go through this whole exercise of podcasting, sharing this information, we're going to go deeper and deeper. I think the biggest message and the thing that we need to understand, though, is the fact that get familiar with the platforms and the technology to the degree that it doesn't scare you. You're not afraid of it. You understand what you can do and what you can't do. You gave me a great tip, and I think I've had a lot of fun with it, and I've got some really great response with it, is instead of responding with, say, hey, thank you, great, appreciate it, have a great day.
You're talking on Facebook?
On Facebook. Thank you. My mind jumps a little bit.
At least you have a mind.
Right? I have a mind. I have a mind to use my mind. And so I had this epiphany when we were having this conversation a couple of weeks ago, and I just made a couple of images, put my face and my brand, and then responded to some Facebook posts with this image.
Rather than just a text.
Yeah, rather than just a text. And then I would get likes from that. And it's interesting, just a little tweak on doing something different. And that goes back to the idea of just learn and understand what the tool is capable of doing.
And have fun with it, Russ. Have fun. I tell people, if you're not having fun with something, that's a great indication you don't need to be doing it.
Yeah.
Okay? Because if you're having fun with it, it's going to attract more people to it. If you treat social media like, oh, I have to do this, you're not going to have fun with it.
No.
So I just treat it as just another way to start conversations with people, to lead them back to my landing page, ronaldwilsher.com, and get them on my email list. I really have no agenda with it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
At that point in time, there is no product.
Right.
There's just a conversation.
We're just out there mingling, networking, online networking.
Well,
right?
And if people want to get in the game, they could just go to russjohns.com.
And if they're on that, they probably never will get to ronaldwilsher.com, but that's okay.
Well, we could talk about backlinks in another episode because they can get to you.
But no, our whole goal here, guys, is for all our listeners is to understand we're having fun doing this. This is something that we never I was talking to Russ earlier that I've been wanting, and I've had people tell me, Ronnie, you need to put this stuff that all this, it was called by a certain person, useless information.
Yeah.
In my head. It's kind of how I got into this business. Ronnie, you got all this information. It's very valuable. You should charge for it.
And it's so random.
Right. But
can you catalog that?
And so I've had these requests to do a podcast. Well, I didn't even know you, Russ.
Yeah.
And we talked about this earlier, and this is what you do. And then all of a sudden, several months ago, we met, started a conversation.
Yeah.
And then it kind of led to us doing these podcasts. So you're learning with us as we go. We're going to have fun with it, and I think you're going to get a lot of valuable information that you can use immediately out of it to have fun and add value to the world.
That is so cool. I really like the idea that we can have fun doing something that can help others too. It's cool to imagine who's going to listen to this next week,
or a year from now.
What conversation is going to evolve from this? And just like us having fun in the studio, just creating something. We got off the couch, we got up, we did this. And we don't know where it's going to go. Right. We're just having fun.
And we don't really have an outline. We kind of do here with what we're talking about, but it's just having fun and sharing information. And I think if you get that in your life, and we're going to talk more about mindset. Mindset is your best asset or your worst. And our mindset with this is to have fun, add value, and give you something that you can use even if we never connect. Just by hearing it, you go implement it, and it has a positive effect in your life.
Absolutely. Hey, thank you for being here today. Check us out next week. We're going to be talking about the expert status and what you could do to get an expert, hire an expert, have assistance in what you're doing and what you're trying to achieve in your life. So thank you for joining Little R&R.
Russ Johns.
And Ronald, Earl, Wilsher.
See you.
Enjoy the day.